Welcome. So today I wanted to talk about something that has been going on since before memes. We've heard about this, I'm sure, millions of times. These millions and millions of people who are faithful, loyal, self-sacrificing, that are in relationships where people don't see their self-worth and their value, but somehow can't find each other. Maybe Tinder will get down to the bottom of it. But in all seriousness, what I wanted to talk about is the blame game. Where did it come from, and who were its first players? And to find that out, we look no further than Genesis. It's where God is walking in the garden, and he calls for Adam, and he says, "Adam, where are you?" And Adam said, "I heard you, but I saw that I was naked, and so I hid." And so God goes, "Who told you that you was naked? Did you eat from the tree that I told you not to eat of?" Now I wondered to myself one day, I wondered if Adam would have answered differently, if the punishment would have been different. Had Adam said, "Dad, I blew it. I did, and I'm sorry. Have mercy," would the punishment have been different? Who knows? But what we do know is that Adam was first player in the blame game. This woman you gave me, she gave me the fruit and I ate. Then it flips to Eve. The serpent deceived me and I ate. And this pattern, this game, has been carried on throughout time. And we have even brought it into the church. We'll get to that in a little bit. But you find this behavior everywhere. Everywhere. Nobody wants to take responsibility for their actions. It's always somebody else. Bad relationship. It's not me, it's them. You find it in kids. I guarantee you find any kid that has been punished, 100% of the time, it wasn't their fault. With people groups, it's oppression. With the church, it's Satan. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about it when it comes to the church. We have this idea that Satan is the reason why we fall into these things. It's his fault. It's his fault. He's tempting us. But it's interesting because even in James 1, chapter 1, verse 13, it says, "When tempted, no one should say, 'Satan is tempting me.'" That's not what it says. It says, "When tempted, no one should say, 'God is tempting me.' For God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when they are dragged by their own evil desires and enticed." It's not Satan's fault. What's going on is something within your own evil desire. When you're sitting there and you're battling within your own mind between two decisions and your heart is racing, you're not being tempted by the enemy. You're being tempted by your own evil desires. You know what you should be doing. You know you should not go there. Oh, but I want to. So you're wrestling with your own evil desires. And I think in the church, we have practiced that even before we were saved for so long. This behavior that has been rooted in the nature of sin, that once saved, we still carry on in that mindset. It's everybody else but us. And I really think that God wants to break that in us, because that's the only way we're ever going to get healed. When we're pointing the finger at Satan, we take the responsibility off of ourselves. And, oh my gosh, I forgot. When we blame Satan, we're taking the responsibility off of ourselves. Not only that, but we're also taking the responsibility of growing, of going to the Father and saying, what is going on in our soul? And if we don't do that, we won't grow properly, because we're not dealing to the issues of what's going on within us. And these are the parts that God wants to heal. We have now returned to the Good Shepherd, the overseer of our souls, and it is his desire to heal these parts of us. But if we're constantly shifting the blame, we'll never get down to the root of what's really going on within us. Two things I learned about God in this process of walking with him. Number one, He will never, ever let me play the victim. And number two, he always points it back at me. What is going on in you that brought you to this conclusion? So he sits me down and he says, baby, why did you do that? And so I have to hang my head down, high, and I say, Papa, I did that because I like the attention. And he goes, okay, let's heal that. Because he knows I can't properly develop until he heals this part of me. And when another issue comes up, he'll sit me down again and say, why did you do that? And then I go, okay, I did that because I don't like being wrong. I don't like looking weak. Okay. Now we can deal with it. So in closing, what I want to say to you, beloved, is that His grace is sufficient. His strength is made perfect in your weakness. So you don't have to be ashamed that you feel these feelings. You can go to Him confidently and say, you know what? I'm afraid of being alone. I don't want to be alone. That is such a fear of mine. So I entertain a relationship that I know I have no business being in. And He says, okay, that's good. Now we can deal with the issue. I know I shouldn't have snapped, but I did because I got defensive. I feel like when they call me out like that, it makes me look weak. That's good. Now we can heal it. I want to lie because I'm afraid of the repercussions, but I want to do the right thing. But I'm afraid of what's going to happen. Help me. That's good. Now we can begin the healing process. We got to stop pointing the finger at the enemy and allow God to deal with us and what's going on in our soul so that we can grow healthy and strong before God. So I know that you've been blessed in your hearing, and as always, grace and peace, family.